There's some confusion as far as entering a trade goes. Now, what we're looking for is, first of all, a trend direction, and that's going to be established by the TBL. We're going to get a trend direction. Now, when we get a new trend direction, that is not an indication to get into the trade. That is an indication of the direction we want to trade. So at this point, let's start with this one here. We've got a trend that was previously down as the TBL was red. And then what happened was the TBL turned green. And that tells us at that point that the trend wants to go up. The trend isn't up yet. It wants to go up, and the indications are there that it will go up, but it's not technically up just yet. We've got the TBL turn green. We've got the big green tetragram bar. Now that validates the fact that that's the direction that we want to trade. That does not mean we're going to get into a trade. That means that's the direction we're going to start looking for trades in. So we're going to start looking for long trades at this point. I'm going to color this one green just so that we can see that it's up. So right now we're looking for a trade in the upward direction, in the long direction. We're looking to buy. Now what we have to wait for is a pullback. We need the tetragram to change. We need it to change shape at this point. We've got the big green bars, and we continue to get big green bars right up until in here. So on this gray candle here, the tetragram turns into a gray bar. We get the gray tetragram bar. And I'm going to change this again because it's kind of conflicting with... Okay, there we go. So we've got a gray tetragram bar. Now the tetragram at that point has changed shape. That is the pullback that we're looking for. That again is not a signal to go long, but that is the pullback that is going to lead into potentially a new signal. What we want at this point is for the tetragram to turn back to green. Now it doesn't matter if it is little green or big green. Because it's a gray bar, we have that option. Can turn a little green for aggressive, big green for conservative. What we get on the next candle is a conservative long. This is the trade that we want to take. We've got the trend direction in this area here established. So we know from here on that we want to take only long trades. This does not mean that we're getting into a trade. It just means this is where we're going to start looking for long trades. We get the pullback as it changes the tetragram to a little gray bar. Again, it can be a little gray bar or a little green bar. And then we want it to go back into the trend direction, and we get that with the conservative or the big green bar. This is a trade. The next one is we've got the big green bars. So if we missed this trade, there's no way to catch this one. If we've missed it, well, we got to wait for the next pullback. The next pullback happens in here. What happens is the tetragram turns from the big green bars to a little green bar. All right, that's enough, because what's happened is the tetragram has been altered. We're looking for a change of the shape of the tetragram, and it turns to little green bars from big green bars. So once we get a little green bar, one of two things is going to happen. We're either going to get a little gray bar, or we're going to get a big green bar. If we get a little gray bar, that means the pullback is continuing. We're getting a little bit of a deeper pullback. Or if we get a big green bar, we've got a conservative trade to go long. So what we get next is the big green bar. This candle is another long trade because we go from a small bar to a big bar. That is a conservative long trade. All right, and I'm going to show you what happens next. So we've got Gark. Later on down the road, at this point here, we have the trend change direction from up to down. This is not a signal to go short. This just tells us at this point we're only looking for short trades. We get the red TBL and we get the big red tetragram bar. This tells us that the trend is down, and all the indications are that that trend has been confirmed. So we're looking for a pullback at this point. We're not looking to take a trade just yet. We're looking to get into a trade after a pullback. We know the direction we want to trade right now. It's been confirmed that we're looking only for short trades. This big candle here would be the short trade. We get the pullback in this region and it turns the tetragram bars to gray. So we got that pullback. It changed the shape of the tetragram. It went from the big bars to little bars. And then this bigger candle is a short signal as we get a big red tetragram bar. If the tetragram is gray, it can turn to a little red one or a big red one. Doesn't matter. Little red one's an aggressive entry. Big red one's a conservative entry. We got the big one. If you chose to get on in this, if you chose to get in on this trade, it would not have worked out. This one would have been a loser because the bar was quite large and it retraced right off the bat, and that happens. All right, that would have been a short trade. Now this is where it's going to start getting interesting. At this point here, the trend goes from down to up. The tetragram turns, or sorry, the TBL turns green, telling us, all right, at this point, we're going to start looking for long trades. The big green tetragram bar has confirmed that the trend is up, that's the direction we want to trade. We're going to start to look for trades in that direction. What we need is a pullback and then a resumption of that trend direction. We get the pullback with the little gray tetragram bars, but what happens is we do not get any kind of resumption of that trade. It does not resume in that direction. Instead, what happens is the trend actually changes to the downside. We get the TBL turning red. We get the big red tetragram bars. At this point, it's telling us, all right, we went from a long trend to a short trend. Now we're going to start looking for short trades. A few candles later, we get the gray tetragram bars, which means, yay, we got the pullback we're looking for. Now we need to see either a little red tetragram bar or a big red tetragram bar. A few more candles, we don't get red anything. What happens is we get a green TBL. All right, so we went from a downtrend to an uptrend. We've got the green TBL with the big green tetragram bars. This tells us that the trend is turning up. We've got some validation that that is the direction we want to trade because of the big green tetragram bars. This is not a trade signal. We are not getting into a trade because of this. What this is doing, this switch from red to green, tells us that this is the direction we want to start looking for trades in. We're not going to take a trade, but we're going to start looking for trades. All right? We're going to say, yeah, we're looking for signals. This is the direction you're going to start looking for the signal. What we need now is, because we've got the big tetragram, we're looking for the tetragram to change shape. We want a small green or a small gray. A few candles later, we get a small gray. So from here, we're looking for either a small green as an aggressive entry or a big green as a conservative entry. A few more candles pass. Again, we get the trend switching down. So now we got a red TBL, we got a red tetragram bar, the big tetragram bar. The trend is switched to the downside. It has been confirmed or validated that that is now the direction that we want to trade. So at this point, right now, this chart is still printing big red tetragram bars. We're not in any kind of trade. This is not a signal to go anything. We're not going short because of this. What we're looking for now is the tetragram to change shape. We're looking for either a small red or a small gray. At that point, we're going to look for the trend to resume. When we get a small bar, we've got the pullback that we're looking for. And then from the pullback, we're going to look for a move in the trend direction. All right, so what this is designed to do is keep us out of choppy scenarios. When the market is starting to go kind of sideways and could potentially chop us out, we're going to see that the trend changes. Up, down, up, down, up, down. All the while never giving us a signal to actually enter the trade. This is a safety feature if you use it as such. So we're looking for the trend to be established, we're looking for a pullback, and then we're looking for a trade. We're not actually looking to get into the trade when the trend changes. We're looking for the trend change to tell us what direction to trade, and then we're looking for the pullback and then the trade itself. I hope this makes sense. It's going to save a lot of traders a lot of heartache and losses if this is how they use the system. This is how it was built. Again, it's trend following. So when you have a trend following system, you have to first identify the trend. What direction is the trend? And that is what the switch is for, the switch of the TBL. When it goes from red to green, green to red, we know that the trend changes direction. All right, so once you've established a trend, you're looking for trades within that trend direction. So once the trend is up, we're looking for an opportunity to trade long. And we need the pullback in order for that opportunity to happen. Otherwise, we don't get the trade. And it just switches back and forth, keeping us out of this kind of choppy scenario.